I first met Senator Lindsey Graham about 15 years ago. He was interested in meeting with me because he was always worried about Iran, the Iranian regime, and I had been writing a lot, doing a lot of research about the apocalyptic Islamist eschatology or end times theology that the Iranian regime at the highest levels embraced and how it was driving Iranian foreign policy. Senator Lindsey Graham was an expert on Iran already and its threat, but he didn't understand how Iranian religious thinking, or particularly their end times theology, their eschatology, how it was, what it was, plus how it was driving, influencing the way the supreme leader Ali Khamenei and his inner circle, how they were making decisions. And so Senator Graham actually asked our mutual friend, dear friend, Fox News anchor Shannon Bream, if the two of us, if she could arrange a meeting. And what she ended up doing was putting together a dinner party. Shannon and her husband Sheldon put together a lovely little dinner party at a restaurant on Capitol Hill called the Monocle. And one of my political thrillers, which dealt with Iran, had just released, and so she invited, several friends and influencers from Washington and from the media, but also Senator Graham, and the two of us hit it off. That was one of the most interesting dinner parties I've ever been a part of, and I got to say that it began a friendship that lasted about 15 years or so. We talked about a lot of different things, our mutual evangelical Christian faith, our love for and our passionate defense of the unborn, the pro-life movement. We talked about Ukraine when I was invited to have my first meeting and interview with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Senator Graham was one of the first people I called just for briefing me and helping me understand who Zelensky is and some of the questions maybe I should ask. When I was invited to bring the first evangelical Christian delegation to Saudi Arabia to meet with then Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, again, Senator Graham was one of the first people I called. Why? Because no American leader, I think, had spent more time, or certainly not nearly as much time, maybe President Trump and Jared Kushner and so forth, but Senator Lindsey Graham had spent an enormous amount of time building a candid and direct and good working relationship with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And of course, Lindsey was a very close friend and direct sort of interlocutor with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. They both, Lindsey and Bibi, they spoke candidly, and Bibi Netanyahu was on Fox News today, was choking up with some emotion about the friend that he's lost. And MBS, I think, knew Senator Graham to be not just a friend of Israel and a great American patriot, an American first but not America alone leader. MBS realized that Senator Graham was one of the best friends that the Saudi people, that the Arab people have, that Senator Lindsey Graham was an evangelical. He was a strong American patriot. He did put America first, but he believed in a strong U.S.-Israel alliance and making Arab-Israeli peace. And I'm going to miss Senator Graham. He was a friend. I last saw him in March 5th, I believe it was. I interviewed him in his Capitol Hill office, and the topic was once again apocalyptic Islamism and the Iranian threat. I think no one had been warning in the U.S. space more about the Iranian threat than Lindsey Graham. He had become a close friend and ally of President Trump when President Trump was really considering the 12-day, war and possibly U.S. strikes on the Iranian nuclear system. It was Lindsey Graham who was advising him, yes, that's the right thing to do. And then Senator Lindsey Graham came to the conclusion that, negotiations were not going to work when it came to Iran this year, and was very strongly supportive and speaking directly and candidly and privately with President Trump on what was the next best move. His sudden death is a shock. It's a shock to me. I woke up this morning here in Jerusalem, and I didn't know he had been sick. It was actually very short, and I woke up to the news that he'd died of a heart attack, apparently. The Iranians have actually threatened to assassinate him. Yes, it should be investigated. Yes, there should be a careful autopsy and all, but I hope that it wasn't Iran's fault, but that God has just taken this man home, that his work was finished. But it's a loss. It's a loss for the United States. He's one of the great American senators, knowledgeable, charming, funny, principled, and relentless. I mean, tireless. He was a great friend of Israel and the U.S.-Israel alliance, and it's going to be a huge loss. I would say, I don't know if there's anybody on Capitol Hill that was a better friend, a more influential friend of Israel than Senator Lindsey Graham. The pro-life movement has lost a great friend. Graham was a great champion of the U.S. military. He served in the U.S. military, in the U.S. Air Force, 33 years, including the reserves, winding up as a colonel. Like, this was a guy who loved America, loved the American military, hated Americans' enemies. I mean, maybe hate was too strong, but understood the enemy, and was always trying to learn more about America's enemies and how to protect Americans and our allies from those enemies. And it's a great loss. It's a terrible loss, but God is merciful, and I look forward to seeing my friend again in heaven. He knew the Lord Jesus Christ. He loved the Lord Jesus Christ. He had given his life to the Lord Jesus Christ. He was born again, and I look forward to walking the streets of glory one day with my friend, Senator Lindsey Graham. For All Israel News, this is Joel Rosenberg in Jerusalem.